我们专题演讲非常荣幸请到台积电研发副总经理王汉生博士来为我们担任专题演讲。那这部分我们也请金崇勋金教授为我们主持。
那我利用这个机会来向大家推荐这个黄汉生黄博士啊。黄教授呢他的英文名字是王啊，这是因为广东音啊，不是王啊，是黄啊。那么黄教授现在是台积电的这个技术副总啊，他是刚刚从斯坦福大学呢被台积电重金挖角回来的一位这个非常资深的一位教授啊，那么他早年呢是香港大学毕业。后来在 Stony Brook 拿到硕士学位，又从礼嗨拿到这个博士学位。后来他在 IBM 也做了非常多年，然后在斯坦福呢担任非常有名的这个教授。他一直在这种前瞻科技转化成这种实用的 device 上面呢做了非常多的贡献。那么我就把这个宝贵的时间呢交给Professor Wang， 谢谢。
各位前辈各位这个学术的界跟业界的朋友，各位教授，各位同学大家好。我是王汉生，我来了台湾不久，今天是大概4个月吧。我从这个美国 IBM 工作多年，都是从事这个半导体产业的研究，然后在Stanford 里面也是从事做这个纳米的研究。现在在台积电呢，我就是希望推动了一些在半导体产业往下的发展。今天呢跟大家分享的都是关于 IC technology， 就是半导体产业的以下发展的路向。我们来到台中，我就想问大家一下，你们去过日月潭吗？对吧？都去过。好，有几人是开车去的？有几位？坐火车大概不能去吧？不行。OK。那如果现在有自驾车，你们有几个人可以敢坐的？没有人敢坐。有一个。OK， 有一个人敢坐。那为什么你不肯做呢？为什么其他人不肯做呢？我觉得这个有几个原因。第一个就是现在这个人工智能这个技术发展还没成熟，这个自驾车可能就是碰了唱的人啊，就是找的路线不对。另外一个原因呢，就是这个现在自驾车所需要的那个计算的能量，那个 computational power 是很强大的。那强大到什么程度呢？我最近跟这个 Berkeley 的教授这个朋友，我问他一下，如果现在的自驾车要使用到最先进的人工智能去做这个导航，那这个车可以开，这个电车可以开多久了？他做了一个计算，他说大概5公里就没电了。那所以这个电子产品这个集成电路使用上在计算上方面的这个功耗，这个 power consumption 是非常重要。如果我们是要实现我们对于高科技世界的生活的梦想，我们就需要把现在的集成电路产品把这个耗电量一直在往下降。 大概要还是需要下降到1000倍以上，才可以实现了我们的梦想。所以今天我就是希望跟你们一起分享了我的对于半导体产业集成电路往下发展的一些路向。我从小都是在香港长大，所以我的国语到这里就差不多了。So I'm going to continue in English, so I hope it's okay. So historically, if you go back to the 19th century, technology really drives a lot of innovations and changes in society. Not only innovations, but innovations that change society. If you go back to the 19th century, what characterizes the 19th century technology is really the steam engine. The steam engine allowed people to migrate from one place to another with great efficiency. We used to ride horses, but now you have steam engines, you can ride the train, you can go from one city to another city very quickly. So that drives a tremendous societal change from a rural society to an urban society. Migration to cities happened because of technological changes. Moving forward, in the 20th century, you have electrification, the invention of electric motors, electric machines, and also internal combustion engines, which is much smaller than the steam engine, that allow you to have products such as the automobile, that allow you to have individual mobility, not just mass transportation, but individual mobility. That drives the urbanization because it increases mobility, and also the further development of the steam engine that gives you long-haul transportation by sea, by ships, and of course is the great advance in international trade. So trade does not only occur among local regions, but it can occur across countries and across the world, basically. Going forward in the 21st century is really an information technology society. Society, much of the value in business is created by the availability of information and also processing of information, understanding of the value of the information, and transforming that value into economic gains. Underlying the information technology is currently semiconductor technology. Semiconductor technology, what is the key underpinning of semiconductor technology is really materials. The proper choice of materials to perform a proper function, certain functions that we would like it to perform. This information technology led to true globalization, not just international trade, but globalization. What I mean by that is that it's not only one party trade with another party, but product development and businesses can occur across country in a seamless way. An example is like IC design. There are companies who have IC design teams around the world. Because of a different time zone, the design can go on around the clock, basically, 24 hours. When one team finishes in one time zone and go home for dinner, another team just wake up and they would just pick up from there. So real globalization occurs because of transformations in information technology. And along with information technology, it also drives or develop new kinds of economy, a service-based economy that counts on information. All the things that we have about social network and e-business and so on would not be able to be possible without information technology, information and communication technology, and the semiconductor technology that underlies those information technology. So if you go back in time, just a brief history in here, the y-axis here showing this plot is the world gross domestic product, world GDP, and a year in here on the x-axis. we'll just pick a few examples that at least I'm familiar with. I'm an electrical engineer all my life, so I'm familiar with them. So starting from the first digital computer happening around in the 1940s and so on. Between that and the first appearance of the portable computer, so-called portable computer. The first portable computer, by the way, is 55 pounds. It's about 20-some kilograms. So it's not really portable, but it's better than the one that was room-sized, all right? So that only took, a better part about 30 years. Now, if you take the next thing, cell phones, or mobile phones that we all have in our pocket. The first commercial mobile phone, which was like this big, like a brick, was put together around the mid-80s or so. But it took only about 10 years to evolve from a brick-sized cell phone to a smartphone, whereby you can do a lot more things, not just making calls and sending simple text messages, but you can go on the web, you have social networks, you can take pictures, you can transmit pictures, and all this stuff. It only took about 10 years. Moving forward a little bit further, about maybe like 10 years ago, autonomous driving vehicles was reality. Actually, this is a picture from the DARPA Grand Challenge, or self-driving Grand Challenge. The first Grand Challenge has autonomous vehicles driving in the desert, open road, no lanes, you just drive, you cannot hit anything because it's an open desert. And surprisingly, none of the team finished to cross the race. Nobody finished. Either due to mechanical failure of the navigation system, whatnot, they never finished. 2 years later, the same competition has an urban course. You drive from Northern California to Southern California in a course that has lanes, that have traffic lights and everything. 3 teams finished. Not only that, they finished in good shape. They're not broken down at the end of the race. So it only took 2 years. So all these technological advances really build upon one another, and therefore you can see an acceleration of the pace of innovation and pace of advancement in technology. It's not only a Moore's law type increase, but really an accelerating virtuous cycle that we see. And society has really embraced all these new innovations in faster and faster pace. The first appearance of the cell phone took many, many years to convert, to transform, translate into smartphone. But now, new apps that comes online, on WhatsApp, on WeChat, it get adopted almost instantaneously by zillions of users. So the pace of progress have accelerated. And I want to give you another example, semiconductor adoption trend. Here, in the early days, you have mainframe computers. Mainframe computers, basically, only a few computers. Thomas J. Watson Sr. famously say you only need 5 computers in the world, right? So there are only the computers. One computer will serve many, many users. Okay? In the era of personal computing, everybody have their own computer, and you have one person to one machine. Every person will interact with one machine. Soon enough, you have mobile computing. You have many cell phones. I don't know how many cell phones you have. I have 3. Okay, and it's also one person to multiple machines. That's just an example, right? I have three cell phones. So okay, I have 3, and people would find me in various ways. Going forward in the future, it's going to be multiple machines to multiple machines. Now you say, how do you talk to multiple machines? Well, in those era, it's not people who talk to the machine. It's machines talk to machines. You have many sensors and everywhere, all the devices. I have Google Home, and in one of my apartments, I have Alexa from in my another apartment. So these devices are all machines. They're all computer machines, right? And they talk to each other. They listen all the time. They talk to each other. So all these machine-to-machine computing becomes very ubiquitous. It appears everywhere. It shows up in everywhere in your daily life. You probably hear about this words called IoT, Internet of Things, right? These seeded trillions of sensors will be around the world. We talk about self-driving cars already, cell phones, you know, and all these, they will talk to each other, sometimes from the edge, what we call the edge device, and sometimes through a data center. On a data center, you need high-performance computing, and in the data centers today are all situated near power plants where electricity is cheap because they consume a lot of energy. Now, if you go on this exponential trend in here, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that before you know it, all the entire worlds of electricity will be used by data center. And that's not going to happen, right? So something has to be done to improve the energy efficiency of computing devices. So today, we have self-driving cars that look like this. You can recognize cars, but you still need to put your hands on the steering wheel. Going forward, we'd like to be able to ride it, call up a self-driving car to your home, and then you can go from your home directly to this meeting place without first driving to the train station, take a train, take a taxi to come here without doing all that. You can just call up a self-driving car and they will do the job. So all this, I'd like to talk about how the semiconductor industry is going to meet this challenge of improving energy efficiency by orders of magnitude. There are three main directions. One is further improvement in the device technology. And by device technology, I mean not only the logic device technology, but memory devices and the interconnections between the devices. That's number one. Number two is how do you put these ICs together into a functioning electronic system? And third is how do you utilize these IC technologies in an application environment that includes computer architecture and software applications, and how do you co-optimize to derive the best energy efficiency out of the whole system. So first about semiconductor technology, you probably heard about Moore's Law. Moore's Law says one would be able to reduce the size of the semiconductor devices on a year-by-year basis, and therefore you get more functionality in an exponential way, and also the reduction of cost in an exponential way. So here shows a history of technology, what we call technology node. A proxy would be the feature size, printed feature size of the transistor on a chip. It goes back from, for example, in the early days of the 1980s of about 3 micrometers down to today. We're at 7 nanometer in production right now, and going forward will be 5 nanometer, 3 nanometer, and so on. This is going to continue, and we don't see any fundamental barrier for us to move forward on this trend. What we counted on for continual scaling, I could maybe summarize in 3 main technologies. One, the ability to print smaller and pattern smaller and smaller features on a semiconductor chips. We went through various generations of lithographic tools, from the use of longer wavelength, like 248 nanometer wavelength to 193 nanometer wavelength. By now, we're down at 13.6 nanometer wavelength, extreme ultraviolet light, that you can print very small features of the order of tens of nanometers. Going forward, it could be less than 10 nanometer. And next key technology is the invention and use of new semi-transistor structures that allow you to shrink the size of a transistor from big to smaller ones without incurring the deleterious effects of short channel effects and so on that increases the leakage current and therefore increases the standby power of the integrated circuits. The third one is really new materials, which this group of distinguished audience contributors have contributed to. Various new materials have been used to fabricate the latest generations of technology. They include high dielectric constant insulators, what we call high K gauge materials, and also metal gauge technology. And it seems like a very simple structure in here with the gauge in here and high K gauge dielectric and silicon chip in here. But if you really zoom into this really tiny area, these layers of materials have tremendous materials innovations. We are able to have engineered the dipoles between these layers, among these layers, to shift the threshold voltage of a transistor almost arbitrarily. And that's required a very deep understanding of materials and also how to control them. And also, not only the control, but you need to have metrology. You have to be able to measure what you have inside because you can only make what you can measure. So let me start with patterning technology. So we have gone from a longer wavelength in here, 400-some nanometer on G line on the lithography tube, which is the wavelength of the light to expose the photoresist. That's also another materials innovations required, a photoresist, photoactive polymers, to 365, 248, 193, and 193 immersion lithography today. We're at 13.5 nanometer extreme UV technology. So with this, we can print dimensions almost smaller than what we can make a device functional device. So I would posit to say that it used to be lithography is really the key technology that paces the advance of IC technology. Without the ability to print, you cannot mix the next generation of IC technology. I would posit to say that lithography is no longer the limitation of device scaling. You can print anything you want, but you cannot make the device functional because of fundamental device physics going forward. So you need to have a change in the way you make the devices and the change in the way you use those materials to make the devices. So what do we use? We start from, on the device structure point of view, we start from a planar device in which the carriers go along the surface of a silicon wafer to what we have today in the most advanced semiconductor products, a FinFET, in which the semiconductor, this piece of silicon standing up vertically like a fin, to going forward would be other device structures such as nanowires, which are shown here, or the use of different channel materials to improve the carrier mobility so that you get more current drive for the same device, for the same dimensions of the device. And many of you know, germanium have very good carrier mobility as compared to silicon under many conditions. And the other materials that is in play today is two-dimensional layered materials. Two-dimensional layered materials can serve as a channel of a transistor And you may want to ask, why do we want two-dimensional layered materials? Why can't a bulk semiconductor such as silicon and germanium do the job? The answer is that as you scale down, you shrink down the devices, the gate length, the distance between the source and drain, in order to maintain the electrostatic integrity, that's in electrical engineering terms, but really what it means is that in order to keep the off-stage leakage currents low, you need to thin down the body of the channel, the thickness of the channel. So you need to have a long aspect ratio. The gate length has to be longer than the thickness of the channel. And two-dimensional layer materials is one of the thinnest semiconductor materials you can find. 3 atomic layers thick, less than 1 nanometer. And with that, you will not be limited by the thickness of the channel anymore when you shrink down the gate length. So this is sort of like the ultimate channel material, 3 atomic layer thick. Now, this is only from a device point of view, but we need to think beyond logic transistors as we think about computational system. Why? Because the computational system consists not only of logic switching devices, but it consists of wires that connect the transistors together. It also consists of memory, which we need to store the data and manipulate the data and put intermediate results into these locations. So if you look at the top part of the slide, which illustrates a mobile device, such as a cell phone, here is the breakdown of the energy consumption of a cell phone. About half of them is on the LCD panel. So if you want to save your battery, turn down the brightness of your phone. The other half are all consumed by the semiconductor chips that you have in the phone. So you need to really cut down on the power consumption or the energy consumption of the semiconductor chips. On the other direction, in the data center, you need to have, this is the breakdown of the power used by a data center. Half of them is used by the servers, as we expected, because the servers are the ones that do the number crunching. But a good fraction, 33%, is spent on the power infrastructure. The energy consumed or the power consumed in bringing the power to the server from the source of the power plant to the servers, because there are a lot of losses in between. Cooling is also part of this power infrastructure, because these computers are very hot. You need to have water cooling and so on. By the way, in cooling, there's a lot of material science involved in heat spreading and so on and so forth. So part of this 33% is due to the fact that you are not completely efficient in bringing the power from the power source to the place where you need to do the computation. So both from a mobile applications point of view and from high performance data center type point of view, you need to really reduce the power consumption of the electronics. All right, so let's think about what consumes the power or the energy of computation. So here's work done by my colleagues at Stanford, so Professor Subhashis Mitra. He took some applications which is going to be very important going forward, such as big data analytics, machine learning, AI algorithms, and so on. And here's the 3 examples in here in AI algorithms, AlexNet, ResNet, and a language model for language classification and recognition. So 3 machine learning algorithms. He built up the he built up the neural network, run it on a conventional processor, conventional Intel processor with some DRAMs and multi-core processors. And he measured the energy consumed in the blue part is to compute, the part that you actually do the computation. The yellow part is the part that is consumed by the memory systems. The energy required to grab data from the external dynamic random access memory to the on-chip CPU. And also, that includes the energy that was wasted when the CPU is waiting for data to come. Why is the CPU waiting for data to come? Because the amount of memory you have on the computing chip today is very small. Most of the memory is to occur outside of the chip. And so you need to wait for the data to come from off-chip to on-chip. And because the connections between the chips are very limited, you only have a handful of, not a handful, but limited amount, not highly parallel access of memory. So you have a big traffic jam, and you have to wait. And much of the time are spent on waiting, and those times that you're waiting, the CPU is burning standby power, and that goes into this yellow box in here. So memory access and data movement really hits a wall. Basically, you're moving a lot of data between the memory and the computational unit, and moving those data costs you a lot in terms of latency, in terms of time, and also in terms of energy consumption. So having a lot of memory close to the processor is really key. So here's one example how to do that. You have a GPU, graphics processor unit in here. Here's an example from friends from NVIDIA. Integrated right next to it is high bandwidth memory, stacks of dynamic random access memory, in this case, 8 of the chips stacked together through silicon via. Again, a very material science focused activity. How do you stack all these chips together and still provide good electrical connection, thermal stability, and so on and so forth. 8 of the DRAM chips stacked together on a package, and then 4 of these put together on what we call an interposer, basically connecting the DRAM to the GPU on an interposer chip. So this is a packaging technology that allow you to put many memory, a lot of memory, very close to the graphics unit's processor instead of outside in a circuit board. Now you can see that there's a progression of technologies that could allow you to put more memory on chip. Today, you have this regular systems that you can buy. You go to buy a computer server, that's what you have. You have a silicon logic die that has the GPU and CPU. You have an external DRAM and a DIMM and connected by a few connections in here. You can have what we call in 2.5D integrated systems with a silicon interposer, with a silicon logic die, with a memory chip, as I mentioned before, stacked on top of each other, connected with the interposer. Great material science problem here. You can even go one step further and stack these dies on top of the silicon die like this by through silicon vias. Today, the through silicon vias are about 9 micron in pitch. To get more connections, you can shrink down the pitch. You can imagine there are many problems by shrinking down the pitch. So one would be able to increase the bandwidth of connections between the memory and the silicon logic die by further shrinking the pitch. Now this is on chip stacking technologies, which has limitations in terms of mechanical stability, because you're stacking the chips have to be mechanically stable. And also, as you do chip stacking, there is thermal issues. How do you deal with the different thermal expansions? Then eventually, if you want even more connections, you would go to monolithic three-dimensional integration, in which you would build layers of logic chip and memory chips on top of each other right on a single wafer. We're not here today yet. We're somewhere around here in the 2.5D and 3D systems. You can find those in products today. Going forward, it will be more like this, because you can see that the trend is to put more and more connections between memory and logic. So talking about memory, memory is an interesting phenomenon. We have not had a lot of innovations in memory for the past maybe 20, 30 years. The memory types we have are SRAM, static random access memory, which is right on the logic chip. The DRAM, dynamic random access memory, which is outside on a standalone chip. That means one that consists of one transistor and one capacitor. And flash, which we all have on our cell phone, flash memory storing all your information, your phone books, your contacts, your pictures, and so on. And those are the three kinds of memories that we have always had. But in the last maybe 10 to 15 years, there has been a lot of innovations in material science that give us a variety of memory technologies, most of them non-volatile, that can potentially enrich our memory, what we call our memory hierarchy, the range of memory with different memory characteristics that you can use in various situations that would that the traditional DRAM, SRAM, and flash cannot do. Here I list some examples here, which you can find in the open literature. There's a lot of innovations and publications on these. Spin transfer talk, magnetic random access memory, phase change memory, resistor switching random access memory, conductive bridge random access memory, and ferroelectric random access memory. All of these memory have these properties which are listed up here. They are random access, they are non-volatile, and no erase before write, and they can be integrated on chip with the logic chip. Now, some of you who are experts in electronic devices will immediately say, what's the big deal in here? DRAM and SRAM and flash all have these properties. Right? DRAM and SRAM are random access, well, but they are not non-volatile. They are volatile. You take off the power, you take off the battery, and they lose the information. Flash is non-volatile. However, you need to erase before you can write any bit in a flash. You cannot just write randomly any bit in a flash cell. All right, so SRAM can be integrated on chip, well, but it doesn't have all these other properties here. However, almost all of these options are listed in here. They have all these properties at the same time, and that makes them special. Now, you can have opportunities to use this memory in ways that you cannot have before. Apart from logic and memory and lithography patterning, there is that you satisfy a lot of the computational need, but that is not enough, because the world is not just about computation. The world is analog. You have images coming in, you have audio coming in, you have high voltage devices. So you also need many of these other what we call specialty technologies, nanomechanical devices, MEMS for the compass and so on, and power ICs to handle all the different power levels, and RF mixed signal devices to do radios for us to communicate via Wi-Fi and so on, image sensors, and today phones are categorized by how many cameras that you have. So those are all integrated on a semiconductor technology platform. I talked mostly about device technology so far, but the opportunities go beyond the devices, because devices need to be connected to each other in a computer architecture, and the computer architecture needs to interact with the software environment, and the software environment needs to interact with the application level tasks. Now, we all know that if we do something in a general purpose way, it would not be very energy efficient. Whenever we do something very special, we can always optimize for the task at hand and cut out a lot of things that we don't need. It's like if you really want to make sure you have everything, you have a car that meets every needs, you would drive a big truck going everywhere. But that's not necessary, right? If you know that you're not going to buy a lot of stuff, you don't want to drive a big truck. You can just ride a motorcycle to get there faster, right? But if you only have a motorcycle, well, that limits you what you can do. You cannot buy a lot of stuff and drive a motorcycle. Well, maybe at least I couldn't do that. So it's the same way in specialization in chip design. For general purpose, you have the CPU, central processing units. The energy efficiency is okay, but not tremendously good and not enough. You go to special purpose computing, such as graphics processors that do the graphics for you, or the digital signal processors that do many of the signal processing, such as your image sensor processor. Those are more specialized. They only do this thing well. So therefore, the energy efficiency is higher, almost 10 times higher. But then you are limited in what you can do with them. You can also do some programming in field programmable gate array. They're also a little bit special purpose because it is a way they have a certain architecture that is being designed in the FPGA. But they have certain kinds of programmability, but not complete programmability. Going forward, all the computational tasks will be more or less domain specific. Namely, you know exactly what you want to do. You want to detect whether the spoken language is English or Chinese or French. That's one processor for that. You want to detect whether there's a car or a motorcycle or pedestrian. There's another processor for that. So you would have a domain-specific, what we call accelerators. It's more or less like a symphony or orchestra. You have the violins, you have the drums, you have the trumpets, and so on. Everyone is specialized in doing one thing very well. But then you need a conductor to put everything together. So you need not only the accelerators, which is a domain-specific, but you also need a conductor. The conductor makes sure that these accelerators work together well and can be reconfigured in real time so that you will respond to the task at hand that you're trying to do. So you would have domain-specific languages, software languages that deal with various specific domains, and you would have runtime reconfigurable hardware so that you can change your reconfiguration. You can reconfigure the hardware when you're using it. So you're not fixed to do one thing, even though each one of the things you do are really fixed. Right? So you need a conductor to glue all these things together. So the computer architecture would look something like this. This is on the left-hand side is today's system on a chip, SoC design. You have a few accelerators and still CPUs and GPU and some memory interfaces and some shared buses in here. Going forward, you will have a sea of very fine-grained accelerators. Each of the accelerators will be very small. They do very specific things. And you have some shared resources to tie all these things together with the GPU and DSP, some memory interface, some smaller core and bigger core. These serve as conductors that go around and conduct and basically direct traffic and say, here, now is the time for you to turn on because I have something else I have something for you to do. After you get done with it, well, the other guy comes in, I have another thing for you to do. So that's tomorrow's system on a chip design. And by doing this kinds of architecture, you arrive at much higher energy efficiency because every task that you do are done by very specific things, specific designs that you have that are optimized just for that. So you're not wasting anything, you have high energy efficiency. So, to summarize, going forward, the IC technology roadmap is not just one thing. It's not just continuous scaling of a transistor from bigger to the smaller one, which has been the case for the past of about 50 years. It's basically three main directions. One, of course, continuous scaling of the logic platform and the memory devices itself. You want to put more and more, you need more and more memory devices on the chip. So you would put more and more of these devices on the chip. You would have packaging technologies that can put a diverse set of systems together because some of them are not just computational chips. Some of them are image sensors, some of them are power integrated circuits made with gallium nitride, silicon carbide, and so on.
Some of them are RF mixed signal transistors, which has a different device properties than the logic platform. So you would integrate them together on a package, and various packaging technologies would be developed. And finally, you need to have system and software and hardware co-design. You need to understand how the computer architecture goes in order to fit your design of the integrated circuits within that architecture. A proper mix of memory technologies and logic technologies together. And what that proper mix is determined by a co-optimization between the computer architecture and the application task you have at hand.
With that, I'd like to thank you, and I'll be happy to answer questions. 谢谢大家。
我们谢谢黄博士非常精彩的演讲。他提到的我们未来 IC 产业的3个发展的方向啊，一个当然是继续的缩小化啊，3奈米绝对不是一个终点啊，甚至到3层原子，这个都是可以的啊。第二个呢，就是你要把这些这个每一个这种晶圆这单元呢，把它堆叠起来，2.5D 到3D。最重要的就是它要把不同的功能，软体、硬体全部要把它整合在一起，所以它是3个方向的发展。这个这么精彩的演讲，我们是不是开放？因为时间关系，最多2个问题。我们是希望年轻的，来，这个我们的陈副校长，
年轻代表，
年轻校长，年轻的部长。
我想请问一个问题，就是说你在大学很久，那你现在回到台积电担任研发副总，你今天谈了很多这些事情，我就问一个问题，最主要是你怎么看未来台积电或者是台湾电子工业跟大学中间的合作的关系，或者是你有什么预期？
好，这个谢谢这个问题，这非常好。台积电在台湾是一个很重要的工业了。以前台积电是台湾 Semiconductor Manufacturing Company， 所以我们主要是 manufacturing。OK， 可是走到现在2018年了，只是在企业上面剩下来的都没几家了。那在这个情况以下，就出现了一个现象，就是说，人才的发展、人才的发掘是非常重要，因为我们以前种下的种子已经用完了。以前我们派出国的，再回国回来参入这个产业的人，都大概用完了，再没有新的来了。新的也不是没有，就是很小，越来越小。所以我觉得就是这个发展跟企业跟台湾的大学的关系往下走，应该是加强合作。那加强合作有几方面，一个是Bachelor Student 这个发展，另外是研究方面的发展。在Bachelor Student 的发展，就是学士的发展，就需要培养多一些这类的人，因为学生的选择很多的，他不一定需要学半导体，也不一定要参入这个台积电的，他们很多选择，他们可以做很多别的事情，很多别的事情也需要他们去做。我们就需要把为什么这个产业是有趣的，这个是需要表现出来，这个要教授们跟我们企业一起开发这个事情。另外就是研究方面的，因为在大学里面研究是很重要的一部分，也是教授跟学生的一些推动力。在研究方面呢，我觉得 现在在这个台湾国内就是有一个很难的情况，就是资源不多。资源不多的时候，就很难吸引好的人才来。好的人才包括了教授啦，包括了 postdoc， 包括了外来的学生，外来的这个 graduate student 研究生。所以希望往下走，我可以推动一下，跟国内的学校、跟政府这个科技部、教育部，可以大家合作，把资源集合起来，那就要在这个学习的培养、跟 postdoc 的培养、跟人才的吸引，有一个往上的发展。因为这个对于企业来讲也是很重要的，因为我们也很需要好的人才，所以希望大家趁这个机会就是发一个广告，希望可以大家一起来合作一下。
谢谢您精彩的演讲哈，关于台积电跟学界合作的问题哈。我曾经做过清华大学校长我可以很负责任的来讲台积电跟学界的合作的 record very very poor， 非常非常差一年拿1亿多 for the whole 台湾的学术界，一年赚3000多亿的公司，拿1亿多来跟学界合作这个是当然 make sense 而且事实上，譬如说清华大学在台积电有3000多个人嘛这个当然 make sense， 所以我听到你这个话，我很 excited， 但是我们希望能够看到成果
好，我想回应一下，校长你这个observation 我非常同意，我已经跟我们总经理反映过。
1000 times increase, OK? You always talk about 1000 times.
Yeah， 因为什么呢？因为我是外来人我在美国就是 Stanford 干了14年。我第一天来的时候，我看见这个其他的同仁跟我汇报，我们这个在美国大学跟台积电跟美国大学，台积电跟国内大学这个合作的一个资源我就是哇，这么小
我们很大的希望来，最后一个问题。
听得你的演讲非常之高兴这是把一个很新的 technology 将来的发展我想跟大家说明一下。我这个问题是很 specific 的，就是你个人站在台积电的立场，你怎么看台湾的大学？你怎么觉得台湾清华大学、交通大学、台湾大学、逢甲大学、成功大学这些学校的研究的水准，你觉得怎么样？这些学校的学生的品质，你觉得怎么样？
好，
时间还不够，
这个是一个难点。在台湾的大学，高级的研究是有的，而且是很好的研究。我以前在美国也跟很多台湾的老师都是教授合作，这也发表了不少的文章所以高级的研究是有的，可是不多，这个是一个情况，只是有质量的研究是真的是有的，在每一家大学都有，也不一定是台大、清大这样子，是每一家都有比方我有一次去这个中山大学我跟中山大学一些老师也有合作，所以这个是真好高质量的研究是有的，可是不够多。
程度并不觉得是很高的评价，没有。
这个也不能就这样讲，就是我觉得这个台湾的大学，现在的大学，就是我看的很肤浅啊，看了几个月，就是危机四伏啊，危机四伏，就是因为人才的培养是很长时间的事情，现在过去10几年以内，从台湾出国念研究院的学生越来越少。我在 Stanford 也看，以前 Stanford 很多台湾来的学生的，现在没几个。我不知道为什么是这个原因，现在没几个。那这样子啦，没几个的时候，你人才培养这个来源也没有了。那下一步是什么呢？我大概几年前吧，跟以前的交大的校长，就是碰过面见面，张君彦，他说：“哇，我们很惨啊，很难请的教授。上期在什么东西啊？来源学生的这个 new graduate 的来源越来越少。第一，第二，我们上课是用中文，在世界上可以讲中文的人不多。”而且有些可以讲中文的不能来，大家知道为什么？可以来的就可以，好像我讲中文讲像我这样子的，不太好。所以这个很这个 constrained by many things。
对，所以你的 first slide， 你的 first slide 里有这个 globalization，
对，
有个 globalization。其实你讲 21st century globalization， 我是觉得是 20th century globalization。
已经
是 already，
已经有
past。可是台湾早期呢是得到 globalization 的好处。我们从这个世界各地得到人才，得到资金，得到什么？可是最近这20年呢，我想台湾呢没有得到 globalization 的好处。我们有点地方就是说，我们人不出去，我们人不进来，我们的产业不出去，我们产业不大进来。所以我觉得这个是台湾一个重大的危机。当然，我这里讲可能是有点不同的这个 implication 的这个，但是我认为说，这个的确是台湾的一个危机的这个。
对，
也就是我们台湾呢，在早期，我在工业院服务20年，10几年，我觉得工业院的成绩在每一个行业里面，都是在世界上同一个 level 的人。你要讲 Fraunhofer， 讲 GNO， 讲这个 JAST， 我想我们any standard 都可以比较的，现在目前还是这个样子，但是我们的学校的确是跟世界上一流的大学还是有个距离在一个地方，所以我觉得我们在学校里头 globalization 受政府的影响太大，我觉得我们 globalization 不够。
Okay, I think he's just make a comment. You don't have to answer. Okay. 这个因为时间的关系，我实在也不能让这个讨论继续下去。让我们以热烈掌声感谢我们的，
谢谢各位。
好，我们谢谢黄副总精彩的演说。好，黄副总请留步。我们学会这边要致赠您大会专题演讲的纪念奖牌，我们请彭理事长为我们致赠黄副总专题演讲纪念奖牌。好，让我们再次掌声，谢谢黄副总。